Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Styles UK YouTube channel, Facebook page, LinkedIn page, Instagram account, wherever you're watching from today. Thank you for joining me for another Friday lunchtime live. I'm very excited about today's episode because we're talking all about Leavers prints, which is something that we talk about a lot here. It's a massive, massive revenue opportunity for anybody that owns a heat press. So I'd 100% recommend you staying till the end of this live, asking all of the questions you can possibly think of, and get everything you can out of your heat press for the Leavers season. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with today's video. I am working off of two cameras today, so bear with me if I'm looking at Instagram or if I'm looking at Facebook and YouTube. And of course, like I said, if you do have any questions as we go, then definitely pop them in the chat. I'm going to answer them as we go. So yeah, let's get started into today's live event. So we're talking all about where direct-to-film transfers fit into the Leavers market. So what I'm going to cover today is the 3 different types of heat transfers that are available and how you can utilize all 3 of them to help benefit your Leavers business. So things like screen printed transfers are made using real plasticell inks. I'm sure everyone watching is familiar with what screen print is. Whether or not you've used a screen print transfer before is a different question, but we're going to cover that today as well. And then obviously you have direct to film transfers, which if you are in the print space, you definitely know what direct to film is. They have been very popular over the last 6-12 months, and they are just getting more and more popular. So of course, we're going to show you how to get the best quality direct to film heat transfer on the market and why you should be using that and when for your Leavers production. So for those of you that have never offered Leavers before, don't worry, it's never been easier to make the most of this with your heat press. We do have a free artworking template that you can use to get started. So we 100% recommend that you download that because it just takes all the stress out of having to design the actual print. It comes all pre-formatted for you. So all you have to do is take the text names and drop them into the template and you can start printing Leavers hoodies. So it's really, really quick and simple. We've made it super easy for you. And like I say, there are different print methods that we're going to cover today that you can use. So before we get into the physical printing side of things, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how big the market is, students get Leavers hoodies at every single level of school now. So whether that's primary school, secondary school, even leaving university, there are so many different areas that people want these products for. And the best part about the Leavers template that we have made for you is that it doesn't have to just be used for Leavers products. We've had people use them for ski trips and different events that the school have on. They just take off the Leavers part, add in whatever the event is, sometimes just leave it blank, add the school logo on the front, and you can make profit throughout the entire year. It doesn't just have to be during that school Leavers season. So everything that I'm showing you today, this counts for the entire year, not just for that school Leavers season. Make sure you're taking this revenue opportunity for your business and utilizing it across the whole 12 months of the year, not just the 2 or 3, May, June, July, when students actually are leaving school and university. So, like I said, every textile printer should be contacting your local schools, anything else, your college, universities, to seize all of these opportunities. Now, we are in March, so we're heading towards the busy period for Leavers season. We've had a lot of printers get started already, and they started printing back in November, December for the June, July run that we're about to hit. But that does not mean that you cannot still profit with Leavers this year. There is still plenty of opportunity, and with the products that we're going to talk about today, the heat print on demand service that you can actually do now with your heat press and with these transfers makes it super quick and easy to get these out the door within the same week. So even if you were to take a last minute order, you can still have that fulfilled for the June, July Leavers season. So we're going to talk all of that today. We're just checking through some comments on Instagram. Hello to everyone joining us. If you do have any questions, make sure to pop them in the chat. And I'm trying to keep an eye on Facebook as well. I'm on my own today. Normally I have Beth with me to help, but she's not here. So I'm going to try and do my best to monitor all of the comments for you. Okay, so like I said, if you've never done Leavers before, or even if you've never used heat transfers before, Don't worry, because we're going to cover all of that today. So let's get started with the first and I would say favorite type of transfer for Leavers designs. And this is screen print. So I'm just going to grab a couple of screen print transfers that are behind the camera. So this is your classic Leavers screen print transfer. And I'm going to try to do this in the light so that everyone can see what I'm talking about. There we go. Okay, so this is a white print, obviously, on a white carrier. So it's not the easiest thing to see, but I'm hoping if there we go, hold it like that, you can all see what I'm talking about. Now, these are, like I said before, are 1 to 5 color screen printed plastisol transfers. They are made with real plastisol inks. So essentially the same result that you would get from physically screen printing your shirt, your hoodie, whatever it might be. You are getting that exact same result with these transfers, but you do not have to worry about any of the manual labor with it. You don't have to worry about the mess, the setup costs, anything like that. All you do is order your transfers online. They arrive to you like this, and all you have to do is put them onto the garment, which I'm going to show you how to do today. Now, this is the example of our template. Now, this isn't the best way for me to show you white on white, but on here we do have the main 24 Leavers print. We have initials here, so that if you are printing for students that want that extra customization, you can do that as well. We've got the neck label here and the school branding. So whether this be your branding in the neck label you want to include, or whether the schools have requested that they want their logo on the front left chest maybe, you can do all of that with this one template. Now, this is an A3 gang sheet, but we do have people that do A4s and put 2 just plain Leavers prints on there as well, or A3s, depending on the size. We do get a lot of questions around sizing for Leavers prints. So if you do have any questions like that, pop them in the comments. We do recommend that obviously A3 and A4 tend to be the 2 most popular sizes for Leavers prints. It really does depend on the size of garment. If you're printing on an adult's large, for example, versus a teenage small, then it might be a slightly different size transfer for the hoodie. So always size up your garments first before ordering your transfers. But I would tend to say that you could get away with A3 to A4 for majority of your Leavers prints. So like I say, this is our gang sheet. So it's got the Leavers print at the top, additional on the bottom, but you could very easily, if you didn't want the customization, if you didn't want the logos, you could take that off the bottom and just do 2 Leavers 24 prints on one gang sheet. So you're halving the cost per sheet of or cost per transfer, because the one cost per sheet, you're dividing it by 2 for every hoodie that you print. So essentially you are halving your production costs like that. So it's really, really simple. So in order to fuse these, what I'm going to do is just take a pair of scissors and I'm going to cut the 24 part that we want from the rest of our gang sheet, because obviously when we print this, we do not want all of the excess from the template coming off. So there we go, just taken off the bottom part there. We'll put that to the side for just a moment. And then this is what we're going to put on the back of our hoodie. So step number 1, you've got your transfer. I'm just going to pop that to the side for a second. And I'm going to take, actually, I shouldn't put that under the heat press, should I? Because that's probably going to start melting. I'm going to take my hoodie. Now we're using our trusty old favorite JH001 today. Absolutely love these hoodies. They are very, very popular for Leavers. The guys at Audis that send them over to us always say how much they sell out at this time of the year. This is probably one of their best selling hoodies across the entire range. So I'd highly recommend checking these out if you are getting started with Leavers and you're not sure which garments to go for. Now, we're going to print today using the Hotronics Auto Open Heat Press. And what's great about this press for things like Leavers hoodies is that it has full threadability if you add a caddy stand or a counter caddy with it. So all of the excess underneath the hood you can get out the way, the seams at the bottom you can clear the platen with, the arms in the pocket, it all just hangs underneath the press and you isolate the logo that you actually want to print onto. So what I'm going to do here is just give this a pre-press, and this also gives us a chance to make sure that the pressure isn't too high. In this case, our pressure is very high. So I'm just going to loosen that off a little. And now we're on a 4. So by the time we add our screen print transfer under there and our release paper, that will be perfect medium pressure. Medium pressure for Hotronics machines, we tend to say is between a 4 and a 6. So anything in those regions is perfectly fine, but the pressure on Hotronics machines is so accurate that when you do put a transfer or a carrier sheet or anything under there, it does pick up on that. So it would easily push it from a 4 to a 5. So if you're pre-pressing at a 6, I'd maybe bring it down slightly, because by the time you put your transfer in there, cover it with release paper if that's what you're using, which you should be, the pressure may then push a 7, which is probably too high. So that's step number 1. So we've carried out our pre-press. And the other reason we carry out a pre-press, as you can see here, all of the wrinkles that were previously in this garment have completely disappeared, and it's removed any moisture as well. So a lot of the garments that you'd get delivered to you were probably stored in boxes, in warehouses where they can pick up damp and moisture. Similarly, if you're storing them in your workshop or anywhere like that, you just want to make sure to have a completely perfect print surface before you put your transfer anywhere near it. Now, in terms of getting placement right, a tip I always like to give people is just to fold your carrier sheet in half like so. Don't damage the transfer, but I'm just going to put a tiny mark at the top of this design here. So as you can see, the transfer is untouched, but there is now a dent in the top of this, so I can see where my center point is. So when I place this onto the garment, I can judge without having to see the actual design where the center is. Now with hoodies, you want to make sure you place it far enough down that when the hood hangs back, it's not going to be covering the design. So I'm going to push this down ever so slightly. Do the test again, that's roughly right. Now, screen printed heat transfers are a cold peel transfer. And when I say cold peel, I mean cold peel, not warm peel, a completely cold peel. Now, we don't want the carrier to lift up with the press. So once this 10 seconds has finished, the press is going to automatically open. But what I want to avoid happening is having the carrier pull up with the press. So I'm going to use what we call release paper. It's essentially just a sheet which you place over your transfer to protect it. And it also helps if you have any newbies printing, if they accidentally place the transfers upside down, they stick to the carrier sheet, not the top of the press. So we carried out a 3-second pre-press. I've set my press to 160 degrees, which is what screen printed transfers fuse at. And it's going to do a 10-second application. So that's literally all it takes to achieve a proper and a real screen printed finish in 10 seconds. That's just unheard of. I don't know another method in the world where you could achieve that result so quickly, and the quality of it as well. So removing the release paper, and I'm going to pull this garment off of the press gently, and I'm going to place this on a cold surface to cool down just for a little bit, and then once this is cooled, we can come back and peel it. I am going to come over to some questions in a second, so let me just pop that down. I can see we've got some questions popping up on Instagram. So is it possible to use them with an iron? We would love to use these, but worried about not having a heat press machine. Okay, yes, this is a question that we get quite a lot. So when it comes to applying heat transfers, there are 3 things you need to consider, the 3 most important elements, and it's time, temperature, and pressure. Now, all of these 3 things can be controlled very accurately when you're using a heat press, especially one like a Hotronix where it's super, super accurate. If you're using an iron, you cannot be 100% sure that the temperature is consistent. You can't be sure that the pressure is consistent. That's probably the most important one because you're physically using your body weight. So that is a very inconsistent measure. Depending on how tired you are or how much energy you've got, you might give it more pressure or less, and there's no true way to measure that. So time, temperature, pressure. So time, again, you're counting in your head, which, okay, that could probably work a little bit, but not as consistent as a timer counting down. And then the auto open as well means that every press is exactly the same. So there's no inconsistencies with our quality of prints here. And like I say, the temperature thing, your iron isn't going to be big enough to cover the whole transfer. So you're going to have to do it in sections. And yeah, the iron is not going to be as consistent. Even when it comes to heat presses, so if you are thinking of getting a heat press and moving away from using an iron for things like that, I would 100% recommend a Hotronix heat press, because one of the main reasons is the heating elements. So we give you a lifetime warranty on these heating elements. That's how sure we are that they are going to last the lifetime of your business and keep performing and performing for you. When it comes to the actual heat rods in these machines, they're micro wound throughout. So you can imagine the rod going all the way across the platen like this. So there's no cold spot anywhere on this machine. Now, a lot of the cheaper import presses maybe have like one on each side. So if you put a transfer in different areas of the lower platen and fuse them, there would be cold spots and things would lift up and not apply correctly. So there's a lot more I could speak about on that subject, but if you want any more information on that, let me know. If you have any more specific questions, pop them in the comments. But yeah, long and short, you can't control time, temperature and pressure accurately. And if you're not controlling those accurately, we don't give you the guarantee of the 75 plus wash quality. So I wouldn't recommend it if you're doing bulk orders, and it would take a very long time to do that as well. Okay, who else have we got on the live today? Which transfers are these? These are our screen printed heat transfers. I'll get another one here to show you. So this is actually one of our neon screen print transfers. You can see the print on that a lot better than you can on the other one, because obviously it's not white on white. So screen print transfers are made using real plastisol inks, and they only take 10 seconds to apply. So it's a super quick, super affordable way to get real screen print finish on your garment, and the finish on them quality wise is perfect. We really, really enjoy those. Okay, who else do we have on the questions? Pisca Prince is saying Hotronix Fusion IQ is excellent. I could not agree more. I did nearly use it for today's live, and then I realized that I needed to do 2 different temperatures, so I figured I'd compare the 2 different sizes of auto open for everyone today, because we don't often use the smaller ones. So we're going to do both today, but the Fusion is just over there, and all of the presses, I'll talk about it at the end, but we do have some great bundles available at the moment. So if you are thinking about purchasing a heat press, then that is probably the best way to do it, because you get some transfer credit involved in there. So basically your next 1, 2, 3 transfer orders could be free if you purchase these bundles. So stay tuned to the end to figure out, learn more about those. Okay, I'm going to see if our screen print transfer is ready to peel. She's a little bit warm still, so I'm going to leave her for another minute. Okay, so while we do that, let's move on to the second part of Leavers prints. So we do also have the full color option, which is ultra color. But before we mention that, I want to jump to DTF transfers. So the reason that I wanted to talk about the different types of transfers today is because the scalability options, there are quite a few of them. So if you're printing for 30 students, 60 students, 100 students plus, you do not want to be using DTF transfers for that, because it will cost you too much money. What you want to be using is a transfer product that has scalable pricing, which is exactly what our screen print transfers do and our ultra color transfers do. And I'll compare the DTF and the ultra color in a minute so that you understand fully about that. But essentially, DTF transfers are for shorter runs, sampling, limited edition, testing, that kind of thing. You don't want to be ordering lots and lots and lots of these, because for the price point of view, you're better off going for the scalable option. However, DTF does have its place when it comes to printing levers. And this is because if you, let's say, for example, you did an order of 100, 150 Leavers hoodies for one school in particular. You sent them off early, they were all happy with them, and then one of the teachers or one of the staff comes to you and says, oh, we need a couple more, we miscounted the sizes, or oh, someone spilt something on theirs and they want another one, things like that. Situations in which you might need to just have 1 or 2 extra added to their order. You want to be able to say yes to that, and every transfer type that we have, or the transfer types available, allow you to say yes to every single print job. There will always be a way to make it work. And in this case, if someone comes to you and needs 1 or 2 or 3 individual Leavers hoodies, you can do that with direct-to-film transfers. So screen print transfers and ultra color transfers have a minimum of 10. And the reason being because the more you order, the lower the price gets. With DTF transfers, there's no minimum order on this. So you can literally order 1, have it arrive the same day or next day, depending on what time you order. If you order by 8 a.m., they ship the same day. And you can have that printed within 24 hours and get it out to the customer. So that's a real express turnaround. It's a real premium service you're offering to your customers, and direct-to-film transfers make that possible. Now, I have got some to demo here, so I'm going to show you exactly how they work today. But in terms of what you're using and when, I just wanted to make that perfectly clear for everyone watching. I wouldn't recommend using DTF for your entire print run. I would always recommend it be more of a substitute product. It's more complementary, if you like, to help you offer the full service to your customers. So let's move over to this press. So this is the Hotronix Auto Open again, but in 40 by 40. This comes in 40 by 40, 40 by 50, and 28 by 38. Now, with sizing of press, I always get quite a lot of questions about which one to buy. How do you know which size was for you? The question that I always get people to ask themselves is, what's the biggest size print you're ever going to need to print, basically? So if you want to do children's clothes as a business, you probably won't need the 40 by 50 because it is quite big. But if you think there's a chance you might be doing full front prints like the one I'm wearing, this would not be possible to do on a 28 by 38 because the press would not cover the entire of the print. So if you think that you are going to want to go bigger, then definitely buy the 40 by 50. If you think you're not going to need it, you only need the small one, then those options are also available. So today we're using 40 by 40 on this side. So I'm just going to make sure my placements, hoodie's in the right place. And again, we're going to carry out that pre-press so that we know our pressure is accurate. See, there's no pressure on that at all now. So we need to increase this quite a lot. So I'm going to give it a few turns and then I'm going to see where we're at. See, that's now on a 6, which is the high end of medium. And by the time I put my transfer under there, that would be too much. So I've just lightened that slightly. And now we are ready to apply. So let's just get our DTF transfers here. So I've had a few different ones done. I have got some white as well so that we can compare the DTF transfer to the screen print transfer that we've already done and see how they look together. Because if you are doing one-offs for your customer, you don't want them to look really, really different to the screen print ones you've offered. Similarly with ultra color as well. So let's do this color today on the white so that it's nice and easy for you to see. And as you can see, the DTF transfers have a clear carrier. So really easy to see where the center point is. You can still make the mark if you want to, just if you get into the habit of doing it like I have been recently. And then we're going to place that onto our hoodie. Again, doing the test with the hood, making sure it's not too high up. Okay, a few settings for our direct to film. Slightly different to screen print. We're on 145 degrees now, and this is going to take 12 seconds. Now, you can use release paper for this, but because it's a hot peel product, you technically don't have to. So just to show you an example today, I'm just going to do it without the release paper. And we're fusing this for 12 seconds, okay? So again, super quick. It's only 2 seconds more than screen print, which is nothing in the day-to-day. The press will automatically open for us. And then you just remove that carrier straight away. So this is hot peel. So off it comes, nothing left on that carrier. And then if I remove my garment from the press, I can show you the finished result. And there we have a Leavers hoodie. And that, like you saw, took 12 seconds, 15 if you count the pre-press. Give you a close-up on the finish of that. Really good high quality there. That color looks great on the white as well. So with Ultra Color Max DTF transfers, which is what we're using here, there is no limit to the colors that you can use. It is a full color transfer. So even though I have some purely whites printed, and this is just a one color pinky purple, you can have gradients, you can have different blends. You could very easily experiment with different things, which for Leavers, you may or may not be asked to do by your customers, but for screen print, you can order black and white DTF as well. There are no limits to what you can achieve there. Now, I'm just going to see if we can peel our screen print, and then I want to talk a little bit about the scalable option for full color transfers, because we've gone through the DTF now, and we want to make sure that if you want to offer your customers full color, you can do that. So as you saw, swift peel, there's nothing left on this carrier sheet, and here we have our finished product for screen print. So as you can see, hood sits perfectly across that design, and the white is popping very nicely on that blue. I'll give you a close-up of the quality on that. There we go. Okay, so that's the screen print option. Now let's talk a little bit about, for profit point of view, which one you would want to use and when. So if your customer comes to you and says, I want a white print on a red hoodie for 150 students, how much is it going to cost? Your beeline transfer should be screen print without a doubt, because you can order that 100, 150, hit those price breaks and make sure that you're making the most possible profit. If, like I said, you create the screen print for them and then they say, oh, we need 1 or 2 extra a little bit later down the line or a couple of weeks before the schools finish, You want to be able to say yes to that. You want to be able to offer your customers that service. So that's where the DTF transfers come in. Just order the exact same transfer that you would have done for Scream as DTF, so you can get the white ones as well. And I will print one of these on a hoodie as well, so you can see the difference, or lack of, should I say. Now, the other option that we do encourage you to do for Leavers is the full color option. Now, the screen print, white on red, white on blue, whatever the hoodie color might be, the classic white print on a back of a hoodie is your typical Leavers look, right? But as we're moving into more fashion-based trends and we're seeing more retail styles in the market, full color is definitely something you should be talking to your customers about. Andy and I have mentioned this countless times on podcast episodes. We've done videos about it. We've done previous lives about it. But even if your customer doesn't say yes right now, taking a full color option and showing them that whenever you meet with them, or sending them some images of what you can possibly do, not only makes them reassured that you are the best person for the job because you've got more to offer and you've got the expert knowledge on what's coming, what's trending, what you can physically do with the print options you have, but it also means that they are more likely to think about that and then potentially go with that in the future. So think about yourself a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. If you show them full color every year, it might take them a year, it might take them 5 years, but eventually they might change their mind and want to go for full color. And that is definitely the way that our market is trending at the moment. So I would 100% recommend creating some full color options. You can use direct to film. You don't have to do a minimum 10 run of ultra color. Use direct to film, create some gradients, create some blends. We do have some full color template options as well. So it's not just a case of downloading our template and having to do it all yourself. There are some blend options in there. You can just change the colors, have some printed as DTF transfers, put them on some hoodies and take them with you when you meet your customers, because it's going to make sure that they realize how much of an expert you are, how serious you are about helping them, and open their eyes to possibilities for the future. Okay, before we move on to the next section, do we have any other comments coming in? Waiting for pro placement to come to Australia. I'd get in touch with Velflex for anything related to that. They are the experts over that side of the world. Okay, let's fuse another direct to film transfer, but this time let's fuse the white one so that you can all see the lack of difference between screen print and the white DTF. So I've gone for a nice brown coloured hoodie today so that the white really pops. And we are going to stick with our Hotronix 40x40 because it's set to the 145 degrees that we need for DTF application. So threading that hoodie on there. This is on the exact same caddy stand as the other auto open. 3-second pre-press at a pressure of 4. It's exactly what we need. And then we're going to take our Leavers DTF transfer. So this is the one we're going to be using today. Hello, Phil. I can see you on the live. You're waving at me. Hello, thanks for joining. Okay, placing our transfer. Again, doing the hood test. That's fine. And then we're going to fuse this for 12 seconds. And we're on a pressure of 4. Again, so really easy. The digital readout on this machine is probably the main reason that I gravitate towards using these machines. You will notice that majority of the videos and lives I do gravitate towards these because not only do they open on their own, which is just a game changer, but they have digital readout for time, temperature and pressure, and they have dual timers. So that just makes everything so much easier. Now this is the finished result for Leavers DTF. So you can see on there just as nice a finish as the screen print. Super, super soft. Fits to the garment. The detail on those names as well has come out really, really well. Really, really happy with that result. So where's the top? There it is. So here is your DTF transfer and here is your screen transfer. So if somebody needed a last minute job, you could very easily order it in DTF and have that hoodie out the same week. So that is basically what I wanted to get across today in terms of using DTF. I just wanted to make sure that all of our customers and people printing Leavers were not making the mistake and not using the right product, because at Styles, we pride ourselves on education. And part of that is making sure that you know how to make your business the most money while creating the products that are going to keep your customers happy. And that in turn for Leavers is either screen print or ultra color for scalable pricing. So unless we have any other questions, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the actual pricing of the transfers, and then we're going to wrap up because we've been talking about this for half an hour now. So any questions that you have got, get them in. And yeah, I'm just going to run through the pricing for the transfers that we've been talking about. And Drum Design says you only need to press once. You do. That is a very good point. There is no second press needed. Thank you very much, Mel, for helping me out with my marketing talk today. Yeah, all of our transfers, you only need to do one press, peel, and you're done. No second press needed, so saving time, which in turn is money. So yeah, that's a great point, Mel. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk pricing then. So there are lots and lots of different pricings available for our transfers because we do it based on your custom order. So we don't have one set price, for example, for 100 sheets. It bases on, we have price breaks at the quantities, we have price breaks at the colors. So there is a full pricing grid on our website where you can go across and say, I want this transfer, this quantity, and this color, and it will give you a number. Alternatively, you could upload your artwork designs to our EasyView designer, upload it, size it, choose the size you want for the sheet, everything like that, put your colors in, put your quantity in, then it will give you a price at the top. Super easy to get your pricings, but just as an example today, I've come up with a couple. So if you're printing between, say, 50 and 100 designs, you can get an A4 gang sheet of screen print transfers for £2.03. Now, if you, for argument's sake, put 2 Leavers 24 prints like we were discussing earlier, on one of these gang sheets, you're halving your cost because if there's 2 prints on one gang sheet, you're only using half of that to print one hoodie. The other half is then another hoodie, another profit. So if you used one of the JH001s, for example, which cost around £8-9 on ralowise.com, and you put a transfer that costs £1 on there, your total cost of that is going to be just over £10, £10.01 to be precise. And you could sell that for anywhere between £20 and £25. So that is a significant profit with these hoodies. It's not, this isn't a trick. This is the actual pricing of how much it costs to use custom heat transfers. So like I said from the beginning, it's super affordable. It's super easy to get started. Our online ordering system does not have any hidden costs. There's no catches at all. You do not have to place a certain amount of orders before you're then allowed to use the system. Anyone could go online to our system today, upload a design and get that result and place their order. So that's really, really useful. Now, if you are going for full color, ultra color transfers, it would be around £3.10 for that gang sheet. So it's a little bit more, but it's not crazy amount of different considering the color capabilities that you are giving your customers. Again, if you were to gang sheet that and put 2 on 1, you could halve it. So it would be around £1.50, £1.55 for that one individual Leavers 24 print. And then it would only cost £10.54 for you to print a full color Leavers hoodie. Now compare that to the £10.01, that's only a 53p difference for your full color versus screen print. So I would say that's a no-brainer, especially if you're taking your old examples in to offer your customers. You know, the fact that you can offer them this at the same price to yourself essentially is brilliant. The full color results do have a higher perceived value though. So this is where the tricks come in. Now you could easily add a few more pounds or even a £5 to this hoodie if you're offering the full color capabilities. So keep that in mind, even though it's only costing you around 50-60p to offer that full color to them, you can charge more than that for it. So it's just another way that you can increase your revenue this year using Leavers prints. Now, like I say, DTF transfers do have their place in this area, in this market. Now, in terms of pricing for DTF transfers, like I said, you can order just one print like this, for example. So you could just order one like this, but I would recommend if you are ordering DTF transfers to either order a 55 by 55 centimeter gang sheet, or we do also offer a 1 meter by 55 centimeter gang sheet. So if somebody comes to you and says, we need 1 more hoodie, 2 more, 3 more hoodies, rather than ordering 2 or 3 individuals like this, I'd recommend you order a gang sheet, load 3 on there, maybe chuck a couple extra on just in case they decide to come back and ask you for more. And then use the rest of that sheet to gang up some other work on there. Don't waste it, don't leave it empty. Use what they're paying you for those last minute transfer jobs and get them for the rest and gang your other jobs up on there. Make the most of every single piece of profit you can. Sorry, just had to plug my laptop in. We're about to run out of charge there midway through the live. That's not ideal, is it? So yeah, like I was saying, a 55 by 55 centimetre gang sheet costs £25, and the 1 metre by 55 costs only £29. So it's only £4 difference for that extra. So I'd highly recommend getting the bigger one. Like I say, gang up other jobs on there. Chuck some neck labels on there. Make sure you're getting that brand awareness out there when people are walking around wearing your products. You want them to think, oh, this is a really nice quality print. Where did I get it from? I can't remember. And then they see your branding in the back. So do not waste the space on that sheet. Make sure you're utilizing it, and make sure you're really thinking about the transfer types you're ordering when you're doing Leavers prints, please. Okay, any other questions today? I think we might be good. Okay, we're good on the question front. Okay, I'm going to wrap up today's live here. If anybody does watch this after the event, and if anybody wants to watch this back after the event, then you can do so. It will be saved on our Instagram. It will be saved on our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn accounts. And yes, you can always come to us with any questions about this. Like I say, if you want to get started with our custom heat transfers, head online to custom.styles.co.uk. You can order all 3 of the transfers we've been talking about today via the online EasyView website. It's really easy to do. All you have to do is select your transfer type, select the size of the sheet you want, upload your artwork, quantity, and check out. That's literally all it is. And they will be with you within a couple of days. So super quick turnaround. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to download the Leavers template, I'm going to drop a link into the comments below. Alternatively, if you're on Instagram, just go to our bio and it'll be one of the options in there. And yeah, thank you very much to everyone for joining me today. And until next week, I will see you next week for next week's Friday Live.